Guys and a mic. It's Jim Ryan along with Mark Rizzo, and we have a very special guest today, record executive, all-around good guy. We've known him for years. Jerry Lembo's in the house. Hello.
And
Welcome,
a beautiful
Jerry.
apartment, I might add, Jerry. Beautiful.
Is that a picture of beautiful downtown Fort Lee?
Yeah.
Fort Lee, New Jersey. Welcome, Jerry. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So I wanted to get started with a couple of things I found since our last gathering, Mark, and we'll get into Jerry's story and the record label stories and all that here in a little bit, because he was very instrumental in a lot of artists and their careers. But I wanted to ask both of you, since I have you here, this is a new survey. What time of day is the most stressful for parents? What time of the day do you think it is during the day that's the most stressful for parents?
Easy answer, 3 p.m. when they come home from school.
Not even in the top 5.
7 a.m.
Bedtime.
He almost nailed it. Jerry almost nailed it. 7:16 a.m. Getting
7:16.
kids out the door. They nailed it down to the minute.
Wow.
7:16 is the most stressful time for parents. Three. What did you say, Mark? 3 o'clock?
Yeah, when they get home from school.
That was in the top 10. That was in the top 10, but not the top 5.
Huh.
So,
But that's ridiculous, because not every kid's getting up to school at 7:16. Our kids didn't get on the bus till like 8.
I guess it depends on who you ask. But the second most stressful time, according to this, was somewhere around bedtime, between 8 and 9.
Yeah, well, it depends on the age of the kids.
Yeah. So there you go.
All right.
I thought you guys would be interested in that. All right. How much do you think a person's astrological sign affects their daily life? A lot, some, a little, never, not sure.
Some people swear by it. I don't know, Jerry. Go ahead. You jump in first.
I'll go with some.
Okay, Mark?
I forgot the choices already.
A lot, some, a little, never, not sure.
Some.
So here's the breakdown, guys. You guys both were close, but you weren't in the number one spot. A lot was 8%. Some was 18%. 21% who said a little. Here's the biggest one. Never does it affect. That was 41% of their daily lives, and not sure 11. I guess they're not into astrological signs. So
I guess not.
there you go on that. All right. And I did have one other thing I wanted to talk about. This was interesting. You guys got to tell me. Students at Ohio's Akron Public Schools are getting a lesson in what not to do when they grow up. According to a TV station, an administrator there has been suspended for attempting to sell the school's lawnmowers without the school board's approval. He allegedly traded 11 lawnmowers to a vendor, then bought back 7 of them under friends and family discount for $5,700. Then he later tried to sell all of them on Facebook Marketplace and pocket $14,700.
So he bought him, resold him, and bought him again?
Yeah, now I couldn't believe that the school board is trying to decide whether or not they should fire him and press charges. You're stealing from the school.
But they're not sure yet.
They're not sure what to do.
Yeah,
He's a nice guy, so what if he robbed us? Let's keep him on.
Get him a job at Caterpillar.
That's funny.
There you go. So, Jerry, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. I don't know what episode we're in, but we're big everywhere. Mark and I are on YouTube. That's where our show lives, but it's basically on all podcasting places, whether you get them on Spotify or Stitcher or wherever you get them, Apple, wherever you get a podcast, you'll find ours. And thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right, Mark.
Well, how about a little introduction so we can talk about what Jerry, actually when I first met Jerry, I was at Arista and Jerry was at Columbia, and he was the AC action captain, because we did the AC format, adult contemporary, and Jerry had a barrage of artists that were just cleaning up, and we were the little engine that was trying to catch up to Columbia as we did all those years. But Jerry can go into detail with all the artists he had at Columbia, and prior to that, I believe he started at Chrysalis, and prior to that, I think he was a DJ in the clubs. But what I think Jerry's most famous for was his experience and career at Columbia, where he worked with all the big names. And I guess he saw them on the way up and probably on the way down. But we had our Whitney, you had Mariah, Clive wanted Curtis Stigers to be Bolton, but that didn't work out. But there was always the Arista Columbia. And then when Donnie obviously left Arista, went to Columbia, and Clive originally was from Columbia. So there was always that kind of competition, but yet we were somewhat related.
Was it always AC, Jerry, or did you, Columbia had a great, rundown of artists, right? Bruce Springsteen was there. I mean, but it was always AC you were doing?
No, actually, when I got to Columbia, I came from Chrysalis, and the transition was I was the Chrysalis rep that used to go to the CBS branch in Rego Park. Jim Del Bazzo was a Columbia
Sure.
rep at that time, and Ray Free had worked for Epic, and I would go representing Chrysalis. So that was my introduction to the branch system. We were distributed by CBS. My branch manager was a guy named Ron Piccolo, and my sales manager was Jim Urey, who went on
Mm.
fame and fortune at the Universal Music Group, he ran the whole distribution system.
Did I freeze? Or you guys froze?
Oh, you froze,
Shit.
but Jerry's talking, so it's okay for me and Jerry to carry on. Go ahead.
So
There you go, Jim. You're back on.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
So the transition was Jimmy left to go to MTV. That opened up the local/regional position at Columbia. John Faggett was the head of promotion, he was the senior VP at that time. And the guys at the branch had encouraged me to apply for the job. I had only been at Chrysalis for a couple of years, so that was the extent of my record company background.
Mm.
I put my name in the hat, had one of the first interviews, and then patiently waited about 3 months while they went through a litany of applicants.
Wow.
Everybody wanted the job. Everybody in New York. The New York local would be considered was like a national position at other labels. We always approached it as you're the president of your marketplace. That's the way you handle it. And so I put my name in the hat, and lo and behold, a good 3 months into I kept asking John how we're doing, and closer to a decision. And he said, we're still interviewing people. And I pretty much dismissed it at that point until I knew the Chrysalis. And the phone rang one Friday night, and it was John. And I said, this is a courtesy call. Sorry, but if I had something else. And actually, he said, no, because the other guy, I want to make you an offer. And we want to spend the weekend, talk to your wife, discuss it. See how she feels about it. And I said, hold on a second, John. Held the phone out for him to decide. And I go, I thought about it. And do I start? So that was the beginning. So actually I came in as the local. So I was covering, the Z100s of the world, the PLJ. So basically you're responsible for every format of radio in that particular region. So you cover top 40, rock, AC, jazz, whatever it was. The only thing that overlapped somewhat was R&B, because they had a separate staff for the R&B stuff. So, again, I was all that. And then when John left, Mark Benish came in as the new senior VP. And ironically, there's an Arista connection there, because I think I was about 3 years into my position at Columbia, and I got a call from Rick Segway, who apparently they were looking to, my assumption was they were going to expand the top 40 department, and I was on a pretty good roll at Columbia, and he was getting around, and I had 4 meetings with Rick, 2 with Donnie Imer. It was my first meeting with Donnie. And I'm saying, how many times do you have to interview me? I mean, it can't possibly be any stone that hasn't been overturned at this
My
point.
story hasn't changed, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then finally, the coup de grace was meeting with Clive. I was in oh my God, can you believe this? I'm in the business for a minute. At Columbia Records, Aris is looking to offer me a position, and I'm sitting with Clive Davis. This is incredible. So, yeah, as you know, Mark, it's all about the music. So more than an interview, it was like he played things for me and asked me my opinion. I think it is so. And had a great meeting. An offer came down. And to be honest with you, I wasn't really impressed. It wasn't a money thing at that point. I felt like I had just really started at Columbia, and I said to Mark, I checked him abreast of all the interviews and everything. I said, I think I'm going to stay. You know, and he said, I can't promise you anything right now, but I'll always look out for your best interests. And he did. And I moved to National Singles there, top 40. So now I was more responsible for the pop songs across the country. And then Bert Baumgartner came in, and Mr. Heine, who crossed over to Columbia, became my new boss, ironically. And so now, and when Donnie came in, he wanted to shake things up. Donnie, as Mark knows, has a very aggressive style.
Been to his restaurant down here a couple times.
Yeah, I owe him a visit. And the thing I said, Donnie, you know, all those interviews, you know, what bothered him? He goes, I couldn't understand how everybody liked you. And I said, and that's a problem? And yet I like to play it, everybody likes it. I go, that's the idea. And he goes, you know, if you're in promotion, you know, there's got to be like a nasty underbelly somewhere. You know, you got to be, you know, there's times when you have to be mean and cutthroat and all that stuff. I said, look, I'm married, I got 3 kids. This is working for me. This is who I am. I've always been, need to change. But Jerry Blair was working in the Boston branch, and Jerry was much more Donnie style. So he wanted to bring Jerry in to take the national top 40s, and he didn't like the way AC take that position. And to be honest, I was very reluctant at first because my background, you know, I was in the disco business, I was in the R&B business, I had platinum promotions, which was mostly urban contemporary and dance records, Christmas, circus, pop and rock, and you know, beginning stages at Columbia was again, you know, the more active formats. I thought for sure, I said, this is if I take this position, it's over. You know, my street credibility is gone, everything. One thing, but here's the interesting aspect. I was reading an article, and he still writes in today. Guys at Pullman used to always do these research reports. And he said at that point, he goes, top 40 was in the doldrums. And he said, and he saw it and go, well, if these artists aren't going to be accessible or the top 40, maybe I can, you know. And Donnie said, I want you to change AC. I want you to do it the way you did pop, the way you did dance and all that. Be aggressive. Get in there. So I would go to AC programs and go, what you want? You know, you're never get anything. You know, I'll tell you, you never get.
Yeah.
Used to getting anything to top 40 or the top department. And I said, well, those rules change as of today. And hence, I became called the action technique. And went in and said, tell me what you want. You're ready to compete. And, you know, so I was very aggressive without promotions and tickets and all the things that they had never been used to getting. And then to top it off, if we looked at the roster, a lot of these artists were peaking in the top 40, and now they seem to be coming behind. Terry, Bolton, Joel, and others, and this was not even the money. So I had a great roster of acts to start with. And built it from there. I mean, Mark is the stiffest competition all the time.
It's two guys and a mic. Jim Ryan, Mark Rizzo here with Jerry Lembo, longtime record executive. Who is your favorite artist to work? Out of your entire career, who did you enjoy working with the best?
Wow. There's several, but there's different reasons for it.
Well, give us your top two.
Top two.
Yeah.
I bet you I could guess who they were for you.
I'm gonna go with Billy Joel and
And who?
Michael Bolton.
I was going to say Kenny Loggins. I thought you were close with him.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Well, yeah, again, like I said, I could.
All right. Top
It's a
three.
re-
We'll give him top
yeah,
three.
We'll put Kenny in there because I'm still friends with Kenny to this day. And again, the reasons were different in each case. Billy, and again, because I had started as the regional, I had a lot of experience with Billy because I covered BAB and RCN and LIR all out on the island. And Billy used to always play in Nassau Coliseum. So I was really close with Bob Buckman, who I think just got a promotion in Sirius.
Yes, he does.
Ralph Tortora, and Block, and Mark Coppola, all those guys right on the island. Dennis McNamara, so I spent a lot of time in Long Island, a lot of time at the Nassau Coliseum, so a lot of Billy Joel songs. And you get very close to Billy. And fast forward, my last record at Columbia was number one record, so River Beach. And we held the record on Billboard. They say 12 weeks. I thought it was 20 weeks, but I have to go back and research it. But we were at number one at least for 12 weeks.
Wow.
And it's the last kind of original stuff that Billy did in this period, except for a recent single that he put out. Between now and then, but that's the fascinating part. When you think about it, 1996, River Dreams, no hit singles since then. And
Right.
what he did at Madison Square Garden and still does across the country when he's physically taken by touring. It's just phenomenal. It's those same songs that are carried forward to another generation, as well as his super fans. We broke every record in the book.
Well,
So-
he's one of my favorites. So I
Billy
can be a little
Bolton-
jealous
now
of you with
Bolton-
Billy Joel.
The thing that got because with Bolton again was that we had a time we both loved sports, we both loved the Yankees, and one of the things that we came up with was Michael wanted to do something like the day of the show, or the day before the show, or the day after the show, that would be like a fundraising event. And he loved baseball. He's
Right, I remember. You play softball, right?
Yeah, so we started a team called the Bolton Bombers. And we started booking games in each of these cities. Sometimes it was with the radio station's personnel. Quite often it would be celebrity teams. We played the Miami Dolphins, the Cincinnati Reds. We played at the Hollywood All-Stars. We played a game in Chicago against a celebrity team that had Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Tom
Wow.
Selleck, Mark Harmon, Frank Thomas, Bo Jackson, MC Hammer, Vander Holyfield. I mean, it was just star-studded. Celebrity.
Oof.
Who won that game?
We won.
Nice.
What
Yeah.
position did you play, Jerry?
I played in that game. I played first base,
Okay.
and we played before we played at the White Sox played today at St. Louis Stadium, and we played before the actual baseball game. So we were introduced. We had introductions. We were on the big scoreboard.
Did you have a chance to stand there and talk to Michael Jordan?
Pictures with him? That pictures of
Wow.
Magic. We had breakfast with all of them. We had morning of the game.
So
So
when
what
you're
position did
standing,
Bolton play?
Third base.
Third
when you're
base.
standing next to Michael Jordan, is it like, "Hi, how are you? How you doing?"
Well, and then here was again, here's my daughter, Kenny. She was a huge fan of Tom Selleck.
Sure.
And Tom played, he used to play volleyball. He would tour around and play volleyball tournaments.
Yeah.
And so he was playing somewhere in Long Island, not the same. So now he's having breakfast with us that morning when I go up and so Tom, my daughters, they've all started touching in high school, and she's a huge fan of yours. And would you mind if I call? I know it's just old people. Would you mind if I call and you just say, why don't you go? Yeah, sure. So I dialed my phone, I thought it was Dion, the middle Billy Dion. And I said, Dion, hold on, it's Tom. And I handed the phone. I don't even say Tom Sawyer. I think it was Tom Ho. I give her
What
the
year was
phone.
this? What year was this?
Oh, bad.
Because you didn't have a cell phone, did you? Right? You had to
Oh,
find a
yeah, no,
landline.
no, this is your cell phone.
Oh, okay.
Probably, one of those big ones. but-
That's right. They were
It's like
the size
Army
of your
phones.
shoe.
Yeah,
The
there's some
Army
kind of
phone.
I got a picture of that too. You could see, he's on the phone, I'm standing there, and he's talking to her, and it
That's
winds
great.
up being like a 10-minute conversation. They got into it.
Wow.
Well,
Nice.
so that was another one.
I was talking about, and by the way, it's two guys on a mic, Jim Ryan, Mark Rizzo. Find us everywhere, YouTube, and ring the notification bell. Make sure you highlight that so you get updated when we get new episodes out. We're on anywhere you can find podcasts, from Apple to Spotify, Stitcher. The podcast lives there as well, usually every other week. We're posting one. And I was mentioning Michael Jordan just a minute ago because there was another thing I wanted to ask you guys about. I just got done watching the Charlie Sheen documentary on Netflix. There's 2 episodes. Couple things. I don't know how the guy's still alive
Hmm.
because it's insane the amount of drugs he did, and you'll see if you watch it. But there was a point in there. Charlie was a pretty good athlete, and he and his dad did some kind of celebrity. Um, took on Michael Jordan in a 2-on-1 basketball game. Now Martin and Charlie won the game, even though Michael, they played a game of horse. They lost that game because obviously Michael was doing stuff they could never do, like reverse dunking and twisting in the air. But they
Wow.
did win the 2-on-1, including Charlie making a shot while Michael was coming out trying to block him, and he got the shot in. So that's why I was bringing up the Michael Jordan thing. But if you get the chance and haven't watched the Charlie Sheen, it is really well done. It's 2 parts, but it's insane what this guy was doing um, into his life. And like I said, it's amazing he's still alive.
Two things
Huh.
that I want to mention. One about Michael Bolton was that at the peak, when you were having all those hits, it was insane. And we would take, a lot of times, I would meet Lewis 11, his manager. We would meet up in the Westchester, because Michael lived in Connecticut. And there was an airport closer to his home. Lewis and I would drive up after work, meet Michael at the airport, fly on a private jet to the city that we were going to play a softball game. He met at the airport by limousines and a police escort to the stadium, which was
Sure.
packed. You come out of the car, everybody's rushing us for our autographs. I'm going, I'm nobody, I'm the record company guy, but they insisted, you got to sign the book or the softball, whatever the case may be. It was that kind of level of insanity. Another hit we played for Joe DiMaggio, back in the Joe DiMaggio. His
Wow.
children's hospital, and he sat in the dugout with us. We played, the one team we played in Miami, no, it wasn't Miami, it was in Florida, though, with Barry Bonds, Cal Ripken, and he's a Boston Yankee pitcher, and I'm not sure who my team.
Not sure. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Oh God, it's been driving me crazy. It's so obvious, but many of them we played against teams like that. And Bonds was playing center field, I was playing right field, and just to watch him, to be standing next to him and watch him effortlessly, like at the crack of the bat, he'd be wherever that ball was coming down. But it was fascinating to watch. Billy Joel, I wanted to mention, you talked about documentary. Make sure you watch the 2 part.
Saw it. Very good.
Kids.
I
One of
haven't
the
watched
best. I
it. I
mean,
have it on tape. I still haven't seen it, but I'm dying to watch it.
there's not many music documentaries I don't like, at least on some level, but Billy Joel's was really, really, really good.
Nice.
Fact is,
That's
the
great.
Houston connection a lot because, and Billy, actually, we had heard this story. I read a Billy Joel concert in Chicago, and at the show, they came out to sit at a table with us. We had a bunch of radio programs. And we're sitting at the table and Billy yelling us some stories. And the one which he mentions in the documentary, the guy in the islands, and it just so happens that Christy Brinkley, Whitney Houston, and El McPherson were there mock shooting fashion shoots. And Billy goes out and there's some kind of piano on this and probably whatever. And he proceeds to tell how he starts playing. And they all gather around the piano. And he's talking about, can you imagine the most look at me? How much love they got from Long Island. And because I could play the piano and everything. And it's really the most beautiful women in the world. Never on the piano. You know, maybe Googleize that, and obviously not posted. But
Nice.
he came over and said, they were playing, I forget what song they played. So they said, well, I can sing, you know, and that was his first meeting at Whitney. So
That's
yeah,
nice.
you know, all these things, it's sort of 6 degrees of separation at times. And
Of course. Well,
I can't appreciate Kenny G with Michael Bolton. I mean,
that's right, Kenny G. But you know, in response to your softball, we used to have a Milli Vanilli synchronized swimming competition, and we used to do that.
Did someone sit in for them on it? Someone perform the maneuvers?
Yeah.
We also had a pie eating contest. That's what we with Billy Ocean was our pie eating contest.
Two guys and a mic. It's Jim Ryan, Mark Rizzo. Our special guest is record label exec from Chrysalis in Columbia. That's where Jerry spent much of his career working with a lot of artists. We've heard about Michael Bolton and Billy Joel and Kenny Loggins. I wanted to ask the both of you because it's a very big topic in our industry. What do you see? Everybody knows about the contraction, and you know, labels smaller, record, the radio stations are smaller. Where do you see the business in 5 years? I'm just like, try and give me a 30-second sum up. What do you think is going to happen for both of these businesses in the next 20 years? Mark?
Jerry, you want to go first? Or?
You go first. You're still working those promotion guys.
Well, I mean, I think we see that, you know, everything is changing. I mean, I had conversations with you, Jim, about having the live personalities on the air. I'm
Yeah.
afraid to think that they'll find a way to incorporate AI, have these fake personalities and these fake things that they'll come up with. And, you know, why pay a live person? We could generate, I mean, that's what's scary because I read they'll do that with actors and they'll do this and that.
I
But,
just
mean,
don't know if you'll ever get the human emotion. Maybe they'll perfect that, but right now that
I hope
just
not.
you don't have the human emotion out of that.
But I think, I mean, we all lived through when you had people downloading music and the music business was going to go broke. And I mean, I've had guys in radio like yourself that say, as long as radio is free, people will always tune in. But we are finding out that the habits of those that are interested in buying music are not getting their music from radio. You know, it's become
Yeah.
secondary. They're finding it on, you know, stuff. I mean, I see artists on TV I've never even heard of. And I mean, like Jerry and I mean, we're semi involved with what's going on and we're aware of the current artists, but there are artists that don't need radio that are selling out and downloading and streams. And
Well, you know, the
that's
biggest
scary.
thing to that is that ever since there's been zero barrier, right, to getting into the recording business. It used to be you had to go out, you had to be playing your own music, but you had to get jobs at clubs. Then somebody from a record label
Gotta
would hear
find you,
about you.
sign you,
They
yep.
come sign you and blah, 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 blah that way.
Audition
Now,
and all of that.
you literally sit in your house. Look, Billie Eilish did her first album in the bathroom with her brother, and the sounds are so good she wins Grammys for it. But what I'm saying is there's zero entry to barrier, basically, or barrier to entry, I should say. And you know, you can post these things so many places, and especially the younger generation goes and actively seeks this
You
music
find stuff,
out
yeah.
and finds it. I was doing my article the other day about this artist, Olivia Dean, who's going to be on our friend Manny Simon's label. 84 million streams, 10 million streams alone last week on a song, and not a single spin on radio.
How did he
Not a
find her?
single.
How did he find her?
I don't know how he found it. I found it. It showed up on Mediabase
No, how did the 10 million people that are downloading and streaming it find it?
because
Okay.
she puts her stuff up on TikTok and other places and they find it.
That's
They know about
unbelievable.
her. My granddaughter told me about Chapel Roan 8
Right.
months before she
I
had her
remember that.
first
Yep.
single on radio.
Yeah.
You know?
And I hear that with my son and daughter. They tell me about acts I've never heard of, and they talk about these, these platforms that they're hearing stuff on.
Only way for radio to make a difference, in my opinion, is they have to do similar to what these kids are doing. They have to go find those records and expose them.
Instead of their call out and their research of what's going to
Yes.
work, they need to research what their
Yes.
audience is listening to.
Yes, they need to
That's what they
find
need
it
to find out.
and find out.
But that
and then
takes
play
work
it.
and that takes energy and they're afraid of taking a chance.
I'm gonna sound real old school here, but I'll take the question you presented. What drew me in as a passionate, fanatical radio listener was the on-air personalities. And I'll start with the guy who influenced me at the beginning, was Murray Decay.
Yeah.
And I went to, and when he announced back then, his version of Jingle Ball was the holiday shows that he had at the Brooklyn Fox Theater. And on any given show, you had literally every Motown act, Four Ties, The Temptations, The Supremes, Miracles, Marvin Gaye, Little Stevie Wonder, and the list goes on and on. Ruby No Romantics, Little Nicky and the Imperials, Dionne Warwick, the Drifters, Patti LaBelle, and you would, again, so you got the combination of a Pied Piper, if you will, Murray, you could tell his enthusiasm and emotion would come through radio. And he's like a magnetic thing. And you went to those shows, oftentimes 3 shows a day, 7 days a week. Every
Crazy.
show sold out. Every show.
Yeah, but that was where the entertainment was.
Yeah, but see, that's it, just it, Jerry. There's so many places now for the
Yeah.
entertainment, but many of the radio companies, they don't want to pay for the talent. Someone like Murray the K or someone, they don't want to pay for it. They don't want to invest
they
in it.
don't pay for
What
anything.
would radio be today without the WMCA Live guys?
Yeah.
So they had personalities, they had talent, they
yeah.
had people that you tuned in to hear.
Don Imus, Frankie Cropper, Scott Shannon, the list goes on. Any WFM, Scott Muni, and that.
Yeah. Carol Miller, all of them.
Miller, where would radio be today?
How about all the Z100 jocks? You talk about
Yeah.
that in their heyday. But nowadays, you show me a kid, pick an age, 15 to 25. They're not listening to
I'll
radio.
tell you a quick story. The guy I
They
used
don't
to
have
work with.
transistors like we did growing up, and you had a little transistor radio. I'm sure, Jerry, you slept with it under the pillow, or
Absolutely.
you waited for your song to come on. That doesn't exist. They don't have radios. Where
The
are they gonna
guy I
listen to
worked
it?
with and I consider a mentor and an all around great guy. I worked with Kid Kelly for years
Kid
at
Kelly.
Z100. Do
There
you
you go.
know he doesn't have any of his own kids, but his nephews, their mother, kid's sister had to really explain how big of a deal her brother was on the radio. They live on Long Island and barely even know what Z100 is because they never listen, even today.
Of course.
And they had no idea what their uncle and how big of a star he was from the radio back in the day when he was on. None. Zero. And it's like, wow, because there's so many other places they get their music.
You had, and then there was the gimmicks. You had like KTU. You had Paco. Paco would go on.
Paco.
You had Paco's panties. I remember we give away Paco's panties.
Yeah.
You had Carlos Days. You had Roscoe. I mean, there's so many personalities. Daniel, Harry Harrison.
Harry Harrison.
Plus, you had Radio Wars.
I
You'd
said-
bumper sticker
competitions,
the other station's vehicle.
I sent a letter to Harry Harrison, and he's saying, I'd love to come up, but never expecting. Like, you wrote those letters all the time, and never got answers. The phone rings one night, my wife says, there's some guy Harry on the phone. Hello, who's this? It's Harry Harrison. I got your letter, Jerry. Would you like to come up and sit in on the radio? Sit next to me on the Vicky. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And I went up there, and then after the show, he sat down with me, gave me advice about the business and everything. It's,
Yeah. Well, guy that made me want to get into the business, Dan Ingram.
I
So,
mean,
Dan Ingram.
it's just it's drastically changed, and I just don't know where it is going to be in the next 5 or 10 years. I mean, there's still 93 million people listening to free over-the-air radio, so I don't think it's completely going away.
Well, that's
I
what I
think
said. As
what
long as
these
it's free, people
stations
listen to.
stations that win invest in their talent. They're hyper local, which the services, the DSPs, and the satellite radio can't do.
Yep.
They can't be that local. And that's what you have to do. But I really do think you got to go, if you're trying to get a younger audience, you got to be scouring for that music. I don't care if you put it on, 7 o'clock at night, every night of the week, and you play an hour. But and you just play it, and damn whatever the ratings are, just keep playing them and exposing this music, and maybe somewhere down the line you'll get credit for being that curator that the kids are.
Right.
all media, they're changing, I know, if you know, but what they can, but I was reading something the other day, too, even the news channels are moving away from traditional journalists and
Yeah.
hiring influencers. Because influencers, like you said, it's like that artist that had 84 million
Yeah.
views. The influencers obviously are generating that kind of sizable audience, and the networks would love to have that. So
Oh yeah.
sacrifice a true journalist to put on an influencer. It's amazing.
So before we wrap this up for the week, it's two guys and a mic, by the way. We've been talking with Jerry Lembo, longtime record exec. It's Jim, it's Mark. Keep following us on YouTube. Please ring the notification bell. Subscribe for us, because it doesn't cost you anything, but it does help us spread the word. And you can find our podcast anywhere you get podcasts. I just wanted to bring this up real quick, because by the time this podcast gets posted, SNL is going to be back with season number 51. It premieres, by the way, October 4th with Bad Bunny as the host.
Yeah, he's been on before, hasn't he?
Yeah, and Doja Cat's going to be the musical guest, which will be cool. Then the second show of the season, SNL alum Amy Poehler is going to host, and musical guest will be Role Model. There's a song I think everybody missed at the Hot AC format this year.
But I saw
And-
the guy.
and-
I saw him on the Today Show, and all the people knew all the words.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Sabrina Carpenter is going to be on this year, both as a host and the musical talent when she comes back.
And I
So-
think we should note that we were booked for the Jimmy Kimmel Show, and just our luck.
Yeah, well, maybe next time. Maybe
Who
next time.
knows?
Two guys and a mic. Jerry Lembo, thanks so much for being here. Mark, it was always a pleasure. You guys are great, and we'll see you on the next episode.